Hello everyone, welcome to this video by 𝐷ataSense. So we continue our Python course. So far we have covered all the data structures, we covered some DSA questions, and we have covered the functions part as well. Now we move towards the advanced part of Python, which are more practical oriented. So far we have actually prepared like our arsenals and all that. Now we have to prepare for the bigger war that is about to come. And the first part to that particular war is called regular expression. You might have heard it is called regex, like generally people call it regex. And a lot of you might have heard about this and you might be scared what it is exactly. I mean, what kind of function, what does it do? But it's a very simple thing. In simple words, if I have to explain you in layman terms, regex just mean pattern matching. Okay, so it just means finding pattern in your data and identifying those pattern and manipulating those matches as per various use cases. Okay, so from this video onwards, from this moment onwards, make sure that you are not confused and you are not scared of regex or anything else, because I have seen lot of candidates like they always make it I mean, they hype it out like lot. Regex, I have to do regex, I have to do who will cover regex, and like lot of those things people do. In simple words, in layman terms, regex is just pattern matching. Okay, so for example, let us say I have given you let's say I've given you a number, an alphanumeric number, for example, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, J, H, I. And let us say, suppose I ask you question that is does this string contain number 2? So can you reply me answer yes or no? So yes, you can reply. Okay, so you will say yes. Now for example, let us say there is another string. I am let's say google.com. Okay, and someone asks you question, does your string contain any website address? Okay, so can you reply? So your answer will be yes. So regex is this only, that you have lot of strings, not little bit, like lot of strings actually, handling HTML pages, handling PDF documents, right? And identifying text in the and analyzing those texts and identifying some patterns. Okay, so this is technically regex. I will walk you through across the PDF, the workbook that we have today, and we will first of all look at what are the various major applications of regex, so that you actually understand where it is used exactly. So let's first of all go through a formal definition of regex. It says that regular expressions, or often abbreviated as regex, allow users to search for and manipulate strings based on specific patterns. So as I told, regex is just a pattern matching. That's all regex is. They are powerful tools for tasks such as finding all capital letters in a string or extracting phone numbers from a document. Okay, so for example, you would have seen there are a lot of websites where you enter your data, they dynamically extract your phone number, they extract your email address, they extract your age. How do they do that? Those are just Python codes, and they are actually big regex functions that they are using. So we will study about this. Despite their reputation for having a strange and complex syntax, this complexity is due to incredible, because they are very much flexible. This might sound a very basic thing to you, that okay, we are just matching an email address in this, but regex functionality can go from very basic code to very advanced things as well. Even in today, lot of AI/ML techniques are totally dependent on regular expressions. Okay, so I'll really recommend that watch this video till the and with proper understanding. I have broken this video, the regex, into two video parts, right? So this is the first video part of it. So try to understand the basics in this video, and then in next video we will try to do some advanced concepts. So let's just say let's look at few of the practical usage. You might not understand the code right now completely. It's totally fine. Just understand what is this code doing. I'll explain you what this code is doing, and just try to understand the practical application of regex. Okay, so the first practical usage is, suppose you have to, you would have seen when you go to any website and they ask for your email address, and when you enter your email address they say this email address is not valid, or this form is not acceptable. So how does it happen? Even let us say you create a Google form, and in a Google form, suppose by default that box accepts string, and you enter a number, it will say no, this format is not acceptable. So how does it happen? It happens through regex. So this example shows, let us say you have to validate an email address. So what you do, first of all, you will import this RE library. This is the regular expression library which we have to import before coding. Now let us say you have a string, email equal to something like this. You have a string. Now what you do in regex, you define some patterns. Don't get daunted by looking at this. This is very simple. When I explain you later on how this is built, just understand this pattern actually means email address. Okay, right now just understand this pattern means email address. So what we will do, that if re.match, so what we'll do, we'll match this pattern in email address. So what we are doing, re.match, we are using this match keyword and matching this pattern into that with that email. So technically what we are doing, so let me just restart the screen. So we have, so what we do, so we have a string. Okay, let us say we create a string here, and whatever user passes any string. Let's say it's a big document of some 500 words. Okay, and you have to check if this particular document contains a particular email address or not. So what you will do, you'll create a pattern for this, how those email address, what is the pattern for an email address, how we create that we will see later. But what you will do, you'll create a pattern for this email address, and after that you will use re.match. Okay, match says that match this keyword. Okay, so what you will do, you'll match this email, this pattern technically. Okay, so you'll match this pattern. Where are you matching it? Matching in strings. Okay, and if your pattern matches your string, it will reply true. Okay, it will reply to true, or it will reply false, depending whether your string contains an email address or not. So what will happen, that if match, so it's saying that if this is true, then print that this is a valid email address, otherwise it print that it is an invalid email address. So now let us say when I run it, it says me it's a valid email address. Now for example, let us say I change this, I remove example.com. So it says invalid email address because I have passed this sign here. Okay, so this is how it is done. I will explain you how to build this pattern, don't worry about that, but just try to understand the working of this code. So that's how this string is built. Now this is a very small string. It can be a string of 500 words, 500,000 words, 50,000 words. It can be anything. Now suppose there's another important thing, application called web scraping. So if you remember what is web scraping, what happens that your websites, when you go to any website, it has lot of information you can actually directly copy. You download it from internet, right? You can import any data from any website. So that is called web scraping, that you import data of a website. Okay, so suppose you want to get this data and you want, now what you will do with this data, suppose you went to a website, suppose you went to a website of let's say Amazon. Okay, you went to Amazon and you want to web scrape. So what all information can you retrieve from this? You can retrieve the email address through which customer has registered on this website address, their phone number, correct? And then you can have their email, so if email is their phone name, you can have, or you can have their address. Okay, so all these things you can, how does any software pick it? So this is done using regex. So all this information which you get through web scraping is actually done through through regex. So let's see this example, extracting links from HTML. For example, there's an page, you want to extract if there is any HTML link here or not. If there is any HTML link, you want to extract that particular part. Okay, so how are we doing it? See, so we have that HTML page content, the code of any HTML of any web page. We have that code. We pass that whole code here, or whatever information we have scraped, and then we create a pattern. This pattern means it's an HTML page. Okay, and then what you do, find all. You try to find all. So basically, just like in the previous case we did a match, it just checks if this particular text contains any instance of email ID. And what if there are multiple email ID, or what if there are multiple emails? So if we use find all for that, we'll discuss all this in detail. I'm just right now just giving you a summary of regex. Okay, and then you use this pattern and you pass the HTML file, and you check what links have been found in this particular text, right? So we found http example.com in this particular string. So this is how this beautifully it is done. Now, for example, there is another example, text processing. Now in NLP, you know that so for example, this is a string. Now when you have to analyze textual data, right, you don't want these commas, these special characters. You want to remove them and analyze the data. So what you do, you create a pattern of these special characters, and you go and you technically clean those text. And once you run this, your new data does not contain any special character. Okay, this is also done using regex. Now similarly, log file analysis. For example, you have to extract IP address from logs. This is your log data, and this contains some IP address. So for example, what happens in a lot of companies, you have seen that whenever you send an email outside of your company, and if that contains any personal information, PI data, that email gets red flagged, right? And how it is done? Because in the backend, a regex function is working on it. Checks that does it contain any PI, like personal information, like credit card number or some company data. So for example, in this case, it is the IP address. Okay, so you create a pattern for IP address like this, and you find all, and if there is any, it will return that IP address. And another major example is this search and replace. Suppose you have this string, you have date in this format, you want to convert it into this format. So you will use regex and you'll use replacement. So you will first of all search something, and then you will replace that particular thing. And you will so see, when we run this code, my initial string was this, today's date is this, and it has been converted into this format. So this is the one. This is like few major application of regex. Regex has no limitation. I'm again saying it can go beyond your thinking. It has like multiple, and it is extensively used in NLP, AI/ML, right? Those where it's used extensively. For example, you have website, you have, let's say, web pages, you have HTML links. You want to identify whether an HTML is a static website or it is a dynamic website. So how do you do that? You do using regex, and there are a number of techniques. So this is just an introduction, just to tell you what all is there in regex, what all you are about to do in this, in the regex videos. So just an introduction to you. Now we will start our official introduction. We'll start working on regex from now. So yes, so we'll start with basically searching and basic patterns. So let us start with the basic of regex, right? How to check for patterns, or how to check for a particular number in strings. So before matching the patterns, what we will do right now is we will check, can we identify if a particular text contains a particular string or not. So for example, let us say we have some sentence. Okay, let's go here as well. Let's go here only. Let's say we have this text. Okay, the customer's phone number is this. Please call him as soon as possible. Okay, so let us say this is a text that is given to you. Now I want to check if this string, the text, contains the word phone, the string phone in it, right? So we want to check if this whole string has a word phone in it or not. So right now I'm not matching any pattern. I'm just checking if a word is there in string or not. This thing we have already done multiple times. So how do we do that? For example, let us say we have a text. Let's say we have a text is equal to I am learning Python. Okay, so how do we do? Let's say I want to check if my text contains Python. So what I will do, Python in text, right? That's how I do. Now, if this string contains a Python, it will reply me a true. So let me run this. And now if I run this, it will reply me true. Now, if I write something like this, it will reply me false, right? Because this word is not present in Python. So right now if I just have to match a particular string in a particular string, so for string 1, if I have to check if string 1 is present in string 2 or not. So how do we do that? We just do take string 1 in string 2 and it will reply a true. Okay, so that's how generally we do a pattern, generally we do a character search or a string search. But how do we do it in regex? Okay, so for example, in regular expression, how do we do that? First of all, you need to import this RE library. Okay, this is an inbuilt library that you can directly import without installing. So just just write down import RE. Now remember, what is the format of my pattern matching in regex? So what we do RE dot match. Okay, and how do we match? First of all, we enter the pattern, and second we enter the text where I want to match. Okay, so this is what I am matching, and this is where I am matching. Okay, now assume this pattern. So this pattern could be a actual pattern, or it could be just a string, a regular string that you are trying to match. So for example, let's say I have to check. So what I will do, let's say I have to, in this example, I have to check if my phone text string is present in this particular text or not. So how I will do, I'm doing search as well. So there is another keyword which is called search. So what it will do, you first of all define a pattern which is called phone. So this pattern will search for phone in the string 1. So how do we do? re.search. This search keyword is important. So there are some keywords which you need to remember. First is search. Okay, and so we will come to them one by one. Okay, let's do them one by one. So right now, first let's see search. So what will search do? It will search this pattern, that is phone, in this text. This is okay, and today it will not reply. I mean, right now it will not reply true or false. So what does it return? So re dot, just a second. So we did this re dot pattern in text. So let me run the text first. Okay, and now if I run this text, okay, so what is it giving me? It is giving me some mapping. So search does not give me a result. So search does not give me a true or false. So what does search give me? Search tells me, so search, if I do re dot search, it will just tell me a map. It will tell me few information, that if it finds a match, it will give me details of match, that where you have found. So what is the detail of the match? Let's see. It is telling me span 15 to 30. Okay, it is matching me this span, and it is telling me the match is phone. Okay, so it has identified this phone keyword in this string because it is here. And so, and what this span means, it is technically the index. So the starting index is 15 and the end index is 20. Okay, so like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's say we do here, let's create a pattern is equal to Python. Okay, we do this, and let's say I create a word like this. So pattern is my Python. So now what I have to do, re dot search pattern and comma text. Okay, so okay, re, so I have not imported re, so import re. Okay, so see, it is telling me that it found the match Python word, and it found at 0 to 6. So remember, there are two Python here. Search will only return you the first match. So if there are multiple matches, it will just return you the first match, and it will give me the range. So 0 means it is at 0 index, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is returning me till 6, means this thing spans from 0 to 5 index. Okay, so search is used to just return your first match. So this is important. It will just return you the first match, and it will, what it will tell, it will give you span of the match. Where is it? Where did it find the span? So initial and end point -1. Okay, so this is the important part of search. Now let's say you define a pattern not in text. For example, let's say in this particular part you define a pattern SQL. Okay, we write SQL, and when I search this, it will not reply me anything because it has not it didn't find any pattern, so it will not reply. So whenever it finds, for example, let's say I do I, and now if I run, it will reply. It told me that yeah, I found this match I, and it was present at this particular span. So this is what it tells me. So now we have seen that search will take the pattern, it will take the pattern, scan the text, and returns a match object. Okay, and if no pattern is found, a none is returned. Technically it returns nothing, so that nothing is an output below the cell. So that's how it has done it. So we have just actually used a pattern and we try to match, and whenever we match, we get an like object. So we get a object, and it gives me a span, and it tells me a match. So let us try to explore more about this particular result that we are getting. So what we are doing, that research will search the pattern, scan the text, and give me the value. So let's take a closer look at this match object. So what we will do, we'll create this pattern phone. Okay, and we will create an object match which is re.search. Okay, so technically we have taken this particular thing in an object which is called match. So when I do this, and okay, so this is the object. Now this object, as we saw, it contains a span, and span has start and the end index. So if you have to technically call without looking at this, you can use this span function. So you can use span method, basically span, and you pass on this braces, and it will return you this. And if you just want the start of the span, you mention start or you mention end. So what are we doing here? For example, instead of this, I create a match object. Okay, match is equal to this, and I want to know where will my match come. So what I will do, match dot span. Okay, and I will do match dot start, and I will do match dot end. Okay, so this is what I have done. Now let's see the results. Okay, so I think it is just replaying. So let's run the span first. Okay, it gives me a span 7 to 8. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it ends in 8. So because we are just checking one character. And let's say do start. So if I do a start, it will tell me the starting index, and if I do an end, it will give me an end index. Okay, so far what all we have covered, we covered search. So first of all, we saw search. Okay, after the search, we get a span object, and in the span, what we get the start method, and we get a end. Okay, so these are the 4 that will help you. That, for example, if you're searching for any text and where did you find it, you can locate those indexes. This is very important. I'm going little slow, and I'm speaking again and again because this, I want this to be totally ingrained in your mind, because we'll be using this extensively in future classes. So that's what it is. Now let's come the question that what if the pattern occurs more than once? For example, here we have 2 Python, right? So how are you going to identify? Because search will just give me 1. Search is not going to give me multiple. Search is just giving me. So let's do, right? Search is just giving first instance of Python. It is not giving me the second. So what keyword is used for that? So let's say text is my phone is new phone and you are checking phone. So phone is present here and phone is present here. So it is giving the first. So for the next part, what we do, there is the next keyword known as find all. Okay. So the next keyword, find all does, it tells you all the instances of matches. Okay. Find all. So let's see how this find all is going to work. So what we do match equal to find all of phone and text. So let me create this object phone. Okay, now and now I run this. So what I did, I create this matches object. For example, here only let's do. So re dot find all. Okay, I do find all, and what I'm doing, I'm searching this pattern in this text. So when I run this, sorry, it's not find all, it's find all. Okay, so it is giving me two matches. So first this match, and it is giving me all the instances of match, and of course it will remain same because first of all it found the Python here, second it found the Python there. So what, again it is replacing that. And if you want to identify how many Python are there, so what you will do, you will just pass a length in front of this, because this is eventually a list, and the length of this list will give you the total number of matches that are present inside this, right? So for example, let's say there are multiple Python, you want to know how many times Python is present in this string. So what you will do, you will take this find all and you will just pass a length, and it will tell you that this particular, so let me just update the text, and this is coming 5 times. Okay, so that's how you will do. And suppose you want the span, so rather than the getting the text, okay, because when we run this right now, it just gives me text, right? It gives me Python, but I want for example, I want the space, the span of each. So what I'm doing, I'm using a next object that is called find iter. So find iter we are going to use here. So please keep a note of all these keywords that we are using. It is very important to remember because we will be using them, and you have to remember this one. So find iter. So we did search. Okay, we did search, we did span, start, end, and now we did find all. It gives us all the occurrences of a particular thing, and find iter is basically used to iterate over all the matches that we have done. So how is it working for match in this find iter? So let's do like this. Find iters. First of all, let's run find iter. What does it give? Okay, so it has created an iterator, something like a match like this, where it contains match for all of the Python which it found. Okay, it contains the match for all of the elements. So first Python, second Python, third Python. Now what we will do, let us say for match in this. Okay, for match in this, what I have to do, print, let's say I just print the span of each. So, or I can directly do match dot span. Okay, and just let me, yeah, okay, sorry, I need to print is, yeah, if I don't give a print, it will not come. So print match of this. Okay, so see, it gave me all the instances where it found the word Python. So remember, we first of all, what we did, we searched it, we found one match, and we found the start and the end of it. Now what comes, instead of one match, if there are multiple matches, first of all, we will use find all instead of search to find all the matches, and to print the span of each of the match, we will use find iter so that we can iterate over this. Now what if I change to start, for example, let's say I want to know the starting point of all the matches, we'll just use start, and if I just want to use end point, I will use the end. So this is how a basic string search is done using regex. Okay, and the last part that comes, if you wanted the actual text that matched, you can use the group method. Okay, so what you will do, match dot group. So for example, here if you do match dot group, it will give you the word that was actually matched, because we are searching Python, right? So technically it gives you what word actually you found out. So basically it will return you the pattern. So group will be important. We will use group later on, so it is not very important right now, but we'll be using. Okay, so total of 7 keywords we have discussed till now. I'm just giving you a recap. So first of all, what we do, we take a string. Okay, we take a string. For example, I am teaching Python. Okay, so this is my regular string. So the first thing is, if I have to search for any keyword, okay, right now I'm not doing any pattern. Right now, remember, I'm just searching for a string. Okay, so if I have to search for a string, I will use the search keyword. It will give me wherever. For example, I want to search teaching, so it will tell me where teaching is lying in. And when it searches, it gives me span that, okay, it is lying at range, for example, 6 to 9 or something like that, whatever the range of that particular match is. And then for each, we have a starting, for each span, of course, we have a starting element and we have an end element. It will give that. And what if there are multiple matches? For multiple matches, let's use find all. So what it will do, once you do find all, it will produce all the outputs wherever it is finding. Okay, and if you want to print each of them, you use find iter to iterate through each of the element, and you can print basically whatever span individually after doing a small loop. And group is used to print whatever your actual match is. So these 7 keywords, please remember, and just follow this exercise, that how you actually match a string inside another string. Now after this, we will start working on the pattern matching. Okay, so far we have discussed that if we have to basically find a string in another string, there are multiple, like these 7 methods we discussed. Now the major thing comes that we have to actually look for pattern matching, right? So this was not pattern. We were checking if a string is there or not. Now let's say there is an example, so that you have a very big document, right? You have a document of, so let's say you have a document of 5,000 words. Okay, now you want to check if this document contains any phone number or not. Okay, so in previously what we were doing, we were just checking if you pass just a simple phone number, right? Just for example. Okay, so you can match like this, but you don't know that specific phone number. You want to know if there is any phone number in these 500 words. Okay, because you don't know this number beforehand, okay, that this number is actually present in a document. For example, let us say you're going out somewhere, suddenly your manager sent you a document, okay, and he said that tell me which all phone numbers are present in this document. Okay, so you don't know this number beforehand. Okay, so how will you create a function, create a method to check if a pattern, basically to check if that document is containing a particular phone number? So now let's read about this. So far we have learned how to search for a basic string, but what about more complex examples, such as trying to find a telephone number in a large, or an email address, for example? We could just use search. So one method is we use a search keyword just like we did. But what if we don't know it? We may know the general format. Okay, so this is the keyword here. We know the format of a phone number. For example, we know that the format of phone number is a digit, then there is a hyphen, then digit, and then there is a hyphen, and then digit, something like this. Okay, or maybe an email address, for example. So how does an email address work? So there is a character at the rate, right? Character, then dot, and at the rate of character, something like this. This is the format of a pattern of you can say an email address. So you know that my email address will be of this format only. It will contain an at the rate. My phone number will be of this format. Okay, but how do we create those formats in Python? Okay, so this is where regex is very helpful. So how do we do that? Just everything remains same. So suppose we are searching a number here, let's say 201 567 0982. Okay, let's say we are searching. I want to search of if this particular text contains phone number or not. So this is my text. Now I have to create a pattern to find this, but I cannot directly pass 201 this now. I cannot directly pass it, so I have to create a pattern. So how do we do it in using regex is we in the pattern, so we create pattern is equal to, so let me just zoom in. So let me first of all refresh the page. And okay, so what we have to do, we have to create a pattern. So example, let's say pattern is equal to and I cannot pass the phone number. So first of all, I will use this small r keyword and I will use inverted quotes. Okay, and whatever pattern I have to write, I will be specifying it within this thing. So pattern, whatever I have to write, first of all, I will write that pattern here itself. Now this R, it indicates that a pattern it's starting. Okay, it is an indicator to Python that okay, whatever is coming after this, it is a pattern. So first of all, remember this. So we will not specifically pass, so we'll do something like this, R, and we will use this and we will create a pattern inside this. So see this R and then use a pattern. Now let's look at this table, how these patterns are actually dealt in Python. So we have first of all character. For a character, how we do, we create a slash and then we create a D. So D means a character. Okay, so this is something that you will need to remember. So D means a digit, sorry, not a character, it means a digit, a number. And so for, let's say for example, you have this number file underscore 25. Okay, if you have to create a pattern for this, that there are a lot of files which are with the name like this. For example, there are files with name file underscore 12, file underscore 23. Okay, suppose you are saving file in your systems like this underscore 67 and so on. So what is happening there, in any pattern there is a fixed part. Okay, there is a fixed part and then there is a variable part. So what is the fixed part in this particular pattern? The fixed part is file underscore. Okay, file underscore is fixed part. And what is the variable part? It is 2 digits. So digit 1 and digit 2, there are 2 digits. So the pattern that we will be creating will be for these things only, for these two. Now in Python you have to remember this table later on. Now let's discuss for digit what is the pattern. You, whenever you're starting any pattern, you have to use this slash. Okay, so this forward slash you have to use, and D means a digit. So it is how it is hard coded. So what will be a pattern for this? It will be file underscore DD. Okay, so what will become pattern for this? File underscore D underscore D. This means that Python, this will indicate to Python that this is not some random forward or backward slash. This means this is a pattern and it is very important. Okay, so for example, let us say I have to create a pattern for file underscore 267. So what will I do? I'll do file underscore for D 3 times. So there are 3 digits. We are telling the Python that there is a file string, after that there is an underscore and there are 3 numbers. Those number can be anything. Okay, here it's 267, it will pick up any number. So this is the first part of pattern matching. So let's look at the few other examples as well. For example, let's say there is an alphanumeric. For alphanumeric, the match is forward slash and it is W. So how it is that, for example, this is the example. You have A hyphen B underscore 1. So you have this alphanumeric means character and numeric both. So what you're doing, first this forward slash W means A. Okay, then this is the dash and then this forward slash means B okay, and then underscore and then 1. So that's how it is working. Now similarly for white space, okay, for white space there is s. So if you see, you have one s and you have two s here, okay. So a b c, so what you're doing, first the pattern becomes a forward slash s means a blank space, then b, then a forward slash, and then s means another blank space, and then c. Similarly for a non-digit, similarly for a white space. So we will discuss about these patterns in next video as well in detail. So right now just understand how a pattern is created. Now for example, this is a text that my telephone number is this. Now you want to identify what does my text contain a phone number. For example, this particular thing that we were doing. So how do I create a pattern? Now I need to find a phone number, right? A phone number which is of 10 digit and it has two slashes in between. So how it will do, the first is a digit, so I will do D, okay. Second is also a digit, so I will do D. Third is also a digit, so I will do D. Now what is the fourth character? Fourth is a hyphen, so I'll pass a hyphen, okay. After this I will do again forward slash D, forward slash D, forward slash D, okay. And again I'll put a hyphen like this, and then forward slash D, then D, then D, then D. So what does it signify? That you have to find a pattern in which there are three numbers at start, and then there is a slash, and then there is three number again, and then there is a slash, okay. So this is how you will do, and this is exactly what we have done here as well. Now so let's just do, so this is my pattern. Now let's do re dot search. So what I have to search? I have to search pattern in my text, okay. So now let's do this pattern, okay. So see, it found span 12 to 14, so 12 to 24. So this is the starting point 12th and it goes till 24. Now let's change the number. Let's see if does it catch it. So let's say 333, and let's say 555, and let's say 0941. So does it catch it? Let's check. Yes, it is catching it again. So the first point, not so doesn't matter whatever your phone number is, it is now matching a pattern of a phone number rather than matching a phone number itself. Now let's test few more things. What if I change the pattern? For example, let's say it is just 09. Okay, will it find? Because now my pattern is looking for this, but there the number is like this only, so number maybe is incorrectly placed. So will it be able to find it? Let's check it out. Okay, it will not find. So this is the drawback of this. Not drawback technically, I will say, you need to exactly know the pattern of the number or phone number or email address that you are going to find. So the first point is this only, that you cannot just assume that okay, it will just check for first few matches. If it matches, then it returns. No, it needs to have an exact pattern match, then only it will work. Okay, the first thing is this only. Now let's see if there are multiple matches. If there are multiple matches, how does it work? So it should work, right? Just like we did to 201, 123 and 0987. Okay, now so now what do we do for multiple matches? We do find all. Okay, so see, it found two numbers, this number and this number, right? And let's say if I want to find that how many phone numbers are in this text, so what I will do, I will use length and I will use pass length. So it tells me that in this particular string there are two phone numbers. Okay, so just assume, for example, you are given a document and someone asks you that how many phone numbers are in this document which has 10,000 words. So how will you do that? You will just write down this particular code, length, find all, pattern. You'll create a pattern like this and you will test it inside that particular document, and it will return you how many phone numbers are there. Now just imagine how beautiful this whole like search is this, because by default, how will you do it? If you didn't have regex, how will you do that? Like you will have to break text. How will your text identify that this is a phone number or not? Everything you can do such a complex task in just one line of a code. Okay, so this is very beautiful thing. Now if you just want to know what particular match is, because if you just run re.search, it will reply, it will just tell you that okay, there was a match. And if you want to check which match is there, you will just write down phone dot group. So just a second, let me run it. Phone dot group. Okay, none type object as no. I will need to check that why it is not working. Yeah, but we'll come to group later on. Not worry about that. So this is a thing that how you match pattern in it. One last thing which I'll cover in next video as well. Now, what if these patterns become very daunting, right? Like if you see, I mean, these are not soothing to eyes, to be honest. You don't know what it is written, and what if there are like numbers are repeating like this. So will you, for example, let's say there you have to catch a pattern which has 200 characters or 200 numbers, right? So will you write down 200 times this? It will become very complex. So what you do in those cases, actually, you you use quantifiers. I will speak about quantifiers in next class, but how are we doing that? We use slash t and we use curly braces and provide how many times is it coming. So for example, this digit is coming 3 times. So what we will do, we'll use curly braces like this. Okay, it is coming 3 times. Then also it is coming, digit is coming 3 times. Okay, these are called quantifiers. We'll discuss in next class. And you say 4 times. Okay, this is also your pattern. And now when you do that, it is also giving you a length of 2. So this was the first class, introduction to regex, the basic things. So let's just revise what all we have searched, what all we covered in this particular video. The first thing that we covered was that if we have how to match or slash, you can say search a string s1 in a string s2. Okay, and how do you search it? You use search keyword. Okay, then you create a pattern and then you search that pattern in a text, whatever the document is provided to you. Okay, and what does it result? This results in a span which has a starting point and it has a end point. Okay, what if there are multiple matches for the same character? You will use find all. Okay, and if you have to iterate through all of the matches that you have find, you will use find iter. Okay, and if you want to print the exact match that you have got, you will use group. Okay, these are the 6 things that we discussed, and after that we came how to create a pattern. So how do we create pattern? So there is a whole table that you will need to remember for so the best thing is that remember for at least for numbers and characters. So let's say alphanumeric and digits, you remember. So for digits it is a /d. So how does it work? So pattern /d. So if there is a phone number 201-678-5237, okay, so what will be the pattern for it? It will be /t, then again /t, and then again /d/t/t/t 4 times. Okay, and then what you will do, this is called your pattern p, and what you will do now, search this pattern p in your text. Okay, and what happens if this becomes very daunting? What you can do, d, then write the frequency of it. Okay, then hyphen, then d, frequency of it, and then hyphen d / frequency of it. Okay, so this is how we have done. So this is all that we have covered in the class 1. In the class 2, we will move towards little advanced concepts and we will solve some problems as well. So thanks again for tuning to this video. We have just started regex. It is again I'm mentioning regex is very important in your advanced people who are going towards NLP text or who will work on textual data. This is very important. Okay, so I mean, in my life, to be honest, I have never used anything more than regex, to be honest. So please remember this, and we will cover this in the next class. So thanks again. Please subscribe to our channel if you have not. I have seen that like more than 70% people who watch the videos, they haven't even subscribed to the channel. So if you really like these tutorials, please subscribe. It will motivate us, and I will see you in the next video. So thanks a lot again.